So get ready for this one. This is the female Pygmy rattlesnake, and she is getting ready to strike already. Boom, look at that. That's what we like to see. And as you probably were able to tell from the title of this video already, this is going to be another one of the best of strike compilations, where I put together all the old clips from all my older videos to kind of highlight all the best moments. And these kind of videos did receive very positive feedback in both the comment section and also in viewer count, so I figured I may do another one of these. There is going to be a new video with all new footage coming up though. It's going to be uploaded next week, but again, today's video is going to revolve exclusively around the Pygmy rattlesnakes. This is Sistrurus miliarius. But this is the female one right there. I actually don't even have her in the collection anymore, however. I sold her a while ago. I used to have her brother and her, but I decided to get or let go of her because she was much more moody than the male specimen and a bit difficult to work with at times, even though she is so small. And I needed the money at the time, but again, I really do regret selling her. Not only because she was a very beautiful specimen and always did put on a good show during feeding time, but also because now I acquired another Pygmy rattlesnake male with very strong genetics. Speaking of him, this is him right there. He's a striped morph individual, looking very pretty and very different, of course, from the natural color or pattern rather. With that nice continuous stripe running all the way through his back, which not even all striped morph individuals have like this. But I would love to, breed him with the female I had, but I decided to sell her before I even got offered this specimen, so nothing I can do about it now. The female is now at a keeper in Italy, and I'm not going to get her back, but look at him. He did take a moment to figure out it is feeding time, but doubled down with the strike, see? And really delivered a lot of venom with that second dose, you can tell. And he is also getting ready to jump out of the cage. That's something the Pygmy rattlesnakes like to do, and the female loved doing that in particular, which I used to have. These Pygmy rattlesnakes, they are very erratic in behavior and very unpredictable, even for a venomous snake, which does make them a bit stressful to work with at times. Even though their bite isn't the worst, it's actually quite mild for a pit viper. It is still very painful and it will put you through some agonizing pain, really. That is going to ruin a few days, maybe even. So you don't want to get tagged by them. Especially not if you are a rodent, then it's going to be fatal, 100%. See, this is another male, the other specimen that I used to have before, which was her brother. And this is also an older clip, but one where he did take the time to get a perfect strike, see, with perfect bite placement to ensure that the rodent does get immobilized at the second it gets hit with the venom, see? It's gonna be very humane, even though that mouse is still moving around a bit. I can assure you that that's just the muzzle still twitching from the venom. The mouse is already on the other side and pretty much taken out, if you know what I mean. There we go, look at that. It is pretty impressive. I mentioned it already that the venom of the Pygmy rattlesnakes isn't too dangerous for humans. It's probably not going to kill you, even though I wouldn't want to put that to the test. You could still have an allergic reaction or something like that, which may kill you anyway, even though the venom is mild. So they are no joke either, even though I don't think there is a recorded death caused by this species. But let me know if I'm wrong on that. There are a few deaths recorded even by the copperheads in North America, which are said to be very weak in venom also, but I think these pygmy rattlesnakes might be even weaker in toxicity towards humans. At the very least, they have a much smaller venom yield than probably most other venomous snakes in the US. They are called pygmy rattlesnakes for a reason. They are much smaller than all the known rattlesnake species in the Crotalus genus. They aren't even too closely related to them. They are more closely related to them than compared to any other venomous snake, but they are still within a separate genus. This is Sistrurus genus, and look at that. That's what I mean. They like to jump out, especially when they get spooked by the mice. They get stressed out very easily, so you have to be careful. I usually just put their box into another bin. Just let them crawl out and let them do their thing. This way they stay somewhat calm usually. Certainly that mouse didn't stay calm either though. It spazzed out from that venom, but I think it's dead now. See? Still twitching around a bit. But let's see another clip. Boom, there we go. Always very energetic strikes. This is still that other male specimen. That other normal colored one. Very beautiful also. I feel like the males often look a bit more pretty than the female ones with the pygmy rattlesnakes. But that just might be my impression. I have no data to back that up. It also seems like the males are a bit smaller in size. And less... also a bit less compact, if you know what I mean. But that also just might be my observation. It would be different than with most other actual rattlesnake species in the Crotalus genus. With them, it's actually the other way around, where the male specimens grow to a larger size than the female ones. Very interesting for sure. Doesn't really make too much sense if you think about it, because with most snakes in general, the females are the larger ones with more body mass, which is, in my opinion, or from my understanding, the more sensible way, you know, because the females need to give birth and either lay eggs or give live birth depending on the species, and they need to be able to build that extra body mass, which will come in handy when they are pregnant or laying eggs, while the males don't really need it. However, with the rattlesnakes, the males also engage in kind of a combat ritual amongst each other, where they try to fight over the right to breed with the females. Maybe that's the reason why they are bigger and have more body mass to engage in the fighting, in the infighting. But I'm not too sure about that. It's just my speculation again. But now this is again the striped morph individual. Really unfortunate that I don't have the female anymore, because I did found out, or it has been told to me, that even if you breed a striped morph run to a normal one, you are still going to get striped babies. So they aren't recessive in the way they the genetics are passed on to the babies. So it is quite interesting. I wonder if you breed a striped morph to another striped individual, if you are going to get a super stripe, which would make sense if it is a dominant gene. But I sped up the footage now at this point, because now you are going to see him swallowing the mouse, which I thought was interesting also. I don't have too much footage of the pygmy rattlesnakes doing that. I usually like to leave them in peace when they are swallowing their meal, as they are quite shy and like to act very nervous, as I mentioned already. As you can tell, he is looking around for the meal and very focused on it. So I figured out it would be a decent enough idea to at least get some footage of them swallowing something also, since it does look always very interesting in my opinion. Also, this gives me the chance to film them from up close, since when their mouth is occupied, they obviously need a moment to spit it out if they were to try and bite me, and this gives me at least somewhat of a time frame to, keep my distance again and stay out of the strike range again. Which usually is easy enough with these Pygmy rattlesnakes since they are so small. I would argue that they do make for a reasonably good quote-unquote beginner venomous snake if you want to get into the hobby. I usually don't like to call certain snake species in general a beginner-friendly snake or not. It's like a really large debate on the internet, I feel like. Not only with venomous snakes, but with pretty much all quote-unquote exotic animal species, which ones are good for beginners or not. I think the whole question is a bit silly because at the end of the day, everyone needs to know for themselves what animals they are interested in and what do want to keep, That's at least my opinion. I think it's kind of pointless to, give some recommendations to people what they should be keeping instead if they already have an idea, but there certainly are more non-venomous species which would make for a good quote-unquote beginner snake, obviously. I don't think any venomous species, even the somewhat mildly venomous ones, do make for a good beginner pet or something. However, there are of course better options than others. Of course, a pygmy rattlesnake or a copperhead, or maybe something like a green pit viper is going to be a much better beginner venomous snake to start gaining some experience with than, for example, a lancehead pit viper or a Russell's viper, which not only are also very erratic and unpredictable, but much more dangerous in venom. Because again, with the pygmy rattlesnakes, I don't want to downplay their toxicity, but I can imagine that even without any medical attention, you would probably survive that bite. Depending on where you live, I would still recommend going into the hospital if you were to get bitten by one of these, just to check on any allergic reaction or something like that, which still might be very dangerous. However, it is of course worth noting that it is nothing compared to, for example, a bite from a puff adder or a lancehead pit viper again. If you get a full bite from an adult specimen of one of these, as soon as you are getting bit, of course, time is running basically to get into the hospital. And if you don't receive any medical attention in time, you will probably die from that venom, or at least there is a very good chance that that is going to happen. That's certainly not the case with the pygmy rattlesnakes. But this is actually the most recent clip I got. It's actually from the last video even, but I'm not too sure now. It's still that normal colored male specimen. I could actually hear him rattle a bit in the beginning. It is very quiet and kind of a buzzing sound with these pygmy rattlesnakes. That's why they also are sometimes called ground rattler, because you need to be very close to the ground to even hear them actually. Their rattle is just so tiny, especially on the Sistrurus miliarius. I think there are other pygmy rattlesnake species like the Sistrurus teguminus do have a little bit of a larger rattle if I remember correctly, but I might be wrong on that. Just let me know in the comments if you also have some experience with the pygmy rattlers. But look at that, took out the mouse very quickly also. Kind of impressive. Look at him. And I'm always gonna keep him in the collection for sure, no matter what. Even though I have 2 male specimens now, doesn't matter to me. Every venomous snake that I sold or had to sell at some point, I always regretted it. And I'm gonna try to keep the collection now as it is. So, and last but definitely not least, we got this Crotalus enyo specimen. And he is not a pygmy rattlesnake, he is a true rattlesnake, but also a very small growing species of true rattlesnake. The Crotalus enyo, they grow to a much smaller size than all the regular rattlesnake species, you know, the western diamondbacks and canebrake and so on. These are much smaller and therefore very manageable in captivity, but he also fits the theme of snake specimens that sadly are not no longer in the collection. I mean, I traded him for another venomous snake, but decided this was maybe a good opportunity to show him again to you guys. Hope you enjoyed watching him and the videos so far. As you maybe have noticed, I am at the moment experimenting with a new thumbnail style, you know, these pictures you see when you click on the video. And I thought they look a bit better. They are AI generated. So we are going to see how you guys like them, or I am going to see. Feel free to leave some feedback on these new thumbnails if you like how they look or not. If you think they are appealing maybe to new viewers also, we are going to see, but I am going to stick with this new style probably for a moment now to see how it works out. And I also changed in a few of the most recent videos the thumbnails to this new style. But again, feel free to let me know if you like them or not. And if you enjoyed this video also, see you on the next one.